FM94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. And tonight on the phone, I am talking with the drummer from the band White Noise Owl, that being Will Hunt. And Will, first so much, thanks for joining me on The Dark tonight, and how you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, let's talk about the band, first of all, White Noise Owl, and give us the history of this band and how this band all came about.
You know, it basically, there's a producer, a guy named Ben Gross, and people might know his name from, he did like the first 3 Filter records, at least the ones that really mattered. And he did like Seven Dust and Disturbed and just all these Van Fuel. And I do a lot of session work for him. And he called me about doing a session for an unsigned band. And so I said, sure. And I went out there to do the session and found out that it was Pete from Ultra Spank singing and from Low Pro, and John Fainstock from Snot was playing bass. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know that that's what was going on. And I had never actually met those guys personally. And then it was this newcomer kid named Chris Shy on guitar. And basically Chris and Pete sort of put this thing together and really just started off as kind of a studio project, and it was, it was just a session job for me, but I got in there and we got along so well, and, I love the music so much, and it was like, well, I guess we got a band now. It just sort of started like that, it was kind of a really cool thing.
Yeah, so it's a collaboration of artists that have been in other directions is basically what this band is for the most part. Right,
and it's like, it's very different than anything any of us have ever done before. It's a completely different type of band.
The latest song we're playing right now on our airways is Something, and I know last year we actually got this, and then they remastered it to, spice it up a little bit. And let's talk about kind of who writes the music for this band. Are you all kind of contributing to that, or is there one main writer?
We all contribute. I mean, the first time around, it was mainly Pete and Chris, and then after that, on the second go around, where you're getting Something from, it's everybody.
Very cool, very cool. Will, obviously, the band White Noise Owl. Why the name? I guess, is there anything significant behind it?
That's something that Chris had come up with a while ago. I think before I was actually doing this.
Okay.
And it was a name that he kind of had floating around, and which he actually developed a logo for it.
Yeah, I know, which is really cool, by the way. You guys, you sent me a coffee cup even, so that was kind of cool.
That's right. Yeah, that's because John has his own little merch company, so we're printing all kinds of stuff. We've got more merch than most bands that are bigger than us.
Right.
That's funny. But yeah, man, it just was a name that we thought kind of it was descriptive of the sound, like exactly what is a white noise owl, and that's kind of like the sound, like what is the sound that we have, and we think it's really unique and different, and felt like the name sort of described that pretty well.
Now, obviously, you're no stranger to the rock world. You've been around a long time and with many different bands. And, I want to catch into that, too, a little bit. I guess talk about that, but how that has kind of made you into, what you are today. Give us the history, I guess, a little bit, maybe in a short synopsis here of some of the bands that you have kind of worked with to get you to this point today.
How much time you got?
Well, I got a whole half an hour. How's that?
I would say that the big catalyst for me was in '96. I got a gig playing with a band called Stuck Mojo, which was kind of like the original. This is kind of when Rage Against the Machine was doing their thing, but Mojo was like Pantera with a rapper.
Okay.
And they were doing pretty well over in Europe and pretty well over here as well. And I got that gig, and via the bass player, who's this guy Corey Lowry, who did Dark Day together. Now he's at Seether. But and that was kind of like the catalyst for it. And then I got out of that band, started my old band Scrape, which got signed to RCA, and we toured for quite a while with that band. Did a couple records, and then kind of in between those records, I got the gig being Tommy Lee's drummer.
Yep.
And that kind of changed some things. And then, from there, things just sort of evolved. I wound up being his drummer, wound up being Vince Neil's drummer in his solo band. He got the gig playing with Static X. I did a record with Black Label in between Evanescence records. I mean, and then in 2007, when I was playing with Vince, I got a call to go finish the tour with Evanescence, and that's basically home. I've been in Evanescence since 2007, and still am, and we just got done with a really successful tour for this orchestral record synthesis that we did. But so yeah, I mean, that's kind of I guess that's about as short as I can make it, but that's a brief synopsis. And in between all that, there was Start a New Day, and then of course White Noise Owl.
Yeah.
And then I've got a band right now, another band with the new singer Jeff Good from Stone Temple Pilots called Rival City, and we're about to drop a tune within the next few months. So a lot going on, man.
Yeah, I know. I saw that with Jeff just getting hooked up with STP, and I think that's a great find for STP because his voice is just spot on.
Yeah, he's great, man. He's really good at that stuff, and he's a bit of a chameleon. We do an Alice in Chains tribute, and he nails the Lane Staley thing so on it. You'd close your eyes and swear it was him. But he can, he goes in and out of it, but then brings his own flavor to the STP thing, and certainly brings his own flavor to what we're doing.
Absolutely. The one thing that I don't get a chance to do enough of is because I normally talk to up-and-coming artists, so you've been a guy that's been around for a while in the industry. I want to get your take on the rock industry right now compared to what you grew up with back when you first started. How huge or how much has changed, I guess, in this industry since then?
I mean, it's not even what it used to be. I mean, one word, the internet. That changed the entire music industry, not even just rock. But I think what's happened is that where you had the United States, and of course you had bands in Europe, and kind of went back and forth. But now it's this global thing because the internet's just shrunk the world. So people in certain areas of the world are getting turned on to certain types of music that they maybe weren't able to get turned on to, years and years ago, and which I think is made this explosion of like EDM and maybe some of the pop stuff, of course hip hop, and where rock fits into that is people say, oh, rock's dead, and I really disagree with that. Is it as big as it was back in the day? No, it's not. But is it alive and well? Absolutely. And I think that there's still some bands out there that are pushing boundaries, and there's bands that they're doing something incredible still. And then there's always the live acts. And I think I just read an article in Wall Street Journal that was talking about that hip hop might be king, in terms of like streams and sales and stuff like that. But when it comes to live music, rock is king.
Yeah.
So it tells me that rock is alive and well. It's just it's not the hot flavor of the day. And
no,
just like in every other time, I think that the pendulum tends to swing in a lot of different directions. And will rock be what it used to be? I don't know. But I don't want it to be either. I think that that's what exasperates invention. And I think that we're at a time where rock music kind of needs, to be reimagined and reinvented. And I think that it's kind of what we're doing with White Noise Owl.
Right.
Like we've really done something that we feel is really different and very special. And nobody sounds like us. And I think that we need more rock bands like that.
We're talking with Will Hunt. He's with the band White Noise Owl, along with many other bands. And you were talking about Evanescence, obviously. And, you sold out all sorts of stadiums and that. And now you go into a band like White Noise Owl where you're kind of, almost like a baby band up and coming. Yeah. Is it kind of a shock a little bit to all of a sudden go from, 20 to 30, 40, 50,000 people to maybe now only a room of maybe 300?
I mean, for me, the only thing that's different really is the money.
Okay, yeah, that's probably true.
And that's a big difference. But I think at the end of the shake, I mean, the energy and the connection and all that stuff, all that's real similar. And I think that, I don't look at it like that. Like, I just love to play. I love to create. I love to perform. And, if I've got a room full of 15 people that are energetic and into it, I'm a happy dude.
That's cool. That's awesome. And what? Give me this here for these up and coming bands out there. What do they need to do to get themselves out there? I mean, because obviously, I've been in the radio business for over 25 years. And,
Right.
Back in the day, if you got on the radio, that was huge. Now, rock radio is barely even around anymore.
Right, and thank God for guys like you and stations like yours, because this is where people are getting turned on to new stuff like us. And, I think that's, going back to your original question about what the state of rock and roll right now. Well, you have less outlets,
Right.
You got less outlets for people to discover this stuff. But, as far as new bands go and what should they do to kind of get out there, I mean, social media, can't stress that enough. That's a big one. And, just it all comes down to this, and I think you'll probably agree. A good song is a good song.
Right.
And if you write that song and you get just a little help, man, and it gets out there, people will know about you. People will find out. And I think that in an age of social media and metrics and how many streams do you have? Well, in order to get those streams and to get those metrics, you've got to write that really good song. So I would say to new bands, focus on that big time. Once you got it, get it out there. Use those things to get it out there. But you got to write the song first.
And I'll be honest with you, Will, there are a few songs that I've heard that are phenomenal, and I'm like, how come these are not hitting like top 40 radio? How come they're not out on the stations? And I've talked to a few of these people, and it says they just don't have the money to push it out there because it's become that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of DIY, man. It's a lot of do-it-yourself, and, it's just kind of, I think that, I don't want to put too much on this, but there is some luck involved.
Yeah.
There really is some luck involved, and, it's also about who you know. Who do you know that can help, kind of open some of those doors that can, it's like, this, and what's interesting now too, again, it's like we're in an age of Spotify and Apple Music, and Apple Music has its curators, and Spotify has its, the people that make those playlists, and, where it's the kind of thing that, where Spotify, it's like back in the day, you had program directors, and they were the gatekeepers, to a band's success or lack thereof. And so you still have those, but now you've got these gatekeepers at Spotify, and they're kind of the key to a band's success.
Right.
Like, you need to get promoted on those playlists that cater to the genre that you're in, and that is where a lot of people get turned on to new music. And, it's kind of like, payola back in the day.
Right.
People used to pay to make those things happen, and that's by the wayside, particularly with Spotify. No, there's no payola. It's somebody liking it and believing in it and putting it on that playlist, and you kind of have to have that component.
Absolutely.
To have success now,
You do, at least in today's society, I think you do need to have some radio promotions behind it. There's somebody has to be there pushing it, because if there's not, it just kind of gets pushed away.
Absolutely, 100%. You have to have it. People still listen to the radio. People still go to the radio. And research tells us that, by and large, that people get turned on to new music via terrestrial radio. It's still a huge component, man. But now you just have other components, and
right.
Whereas before you had to have that. There was just no way in hell you were going to get noticed if you didn't have radio. And now you need it, but there are other outlets that, can also help a band out that maybe they can't get on the radio.
Maybe like for White Noise Owl, if Evanescence decides to go out on tour, you bring White Noise Owl out so you can do 2 gigs in at once?
I would do that in a heartbeat, man. I would do that in 2 seconds flat. Back in the day, like the first year that I was in Evanescence, I did a record for a band that was on Reprise called Blood Simple. Okay. And I tracked that record, and then Evanescence ended up going out on Family Values that year, and Blood Simple ended up being on the B stage. And so I ended up playing with them on the B stage and then playing with Evanescence on the main stage. And I was awesome, man. I was like, man, I'm playing. You know,
Right.
by the time I got up for the Evanescence show, I was warmed up, ready to kill it. You know, it's awesome. So, yeah, if the opportunity arises for White Noise Al to do that, we'll do it in a heartbeat.
Well, I was thinking because isn't Jen Ledger obviously with Skillet? She's kind of got her own band now thing, and aren't they kind of doing that a little bit?
I don't know if she's out. To be honest, I haven't kept up with that. I've heard a couple of songs from that album.
Right.
It's really good, man. She's talented. That girl will give any dude a run for his money and beating the crap out of a set of drums, man. She's awesome.
Hey, let's talk about that. Beating the drums of that. And let's talk about the female side of things. Is she one of the good drummers out there right now?
Absolutely. Male, female, doesn't matter. She's up there. She's really good, man. And I can say this, I can talk about this, I feel, with a little bit of knowledge just because of, with Evanescence, we've got 2 females in our band.
Yeah.
And our leader is the female, it's Amy. And then,
yep.
A couple of years ago, we added a female guitarist, Jen. And I kind of see the dynamic with it, man. And those are 2 girls that get out there and kill it. And, and I've seen Jen on several occasions, and she's a monster, man. Really, really cool.
What is your take of the female-fronted bands? Because obviously Amy was one of the first, obviously Evanescence and that. I mean, there were some other before her, but that was a huge one. But it's really blowing up over the years, almost to the point where it's almost maybe too much. What is your take, I guess, on it?
I mean, you know what, man? I'll go back to what I was talking about before. Good music is good music, and a great song is a great song, whether it comes from a female or a male. I don't think it matters. I think that, just like there's a lot of dude bands out there that are just not good.
Right.
There's a few female bands out there that aren't good either, but I don't think it has anything to do with male or female. It just has to do with, your art. How good is it? Does it transcend? I see some female, it's interesting. We did this last tour in the summer. It was with us and Lindsey Sterling.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of the top 10 tours of that Live Nation did this summer, and it's a testament to, that good female music will do well, just like good male music, And
right.
I think it's kind of cool, man. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I just seemed like it always, all of a sudden, it was just like, for years, the female was not really the front lead singer, and then all of a sudden that happened. But then all of a sudden, everything that I got sent to me was like a female lead singer. That was just like the craze about 5-6 years ago.
Well, and I think there were a couple things. I think number one, when Evanescence came out, there were a lot of copycats.
Right.
And that's no bueno. It's just like there's already one, and I think that there are some other female-fronted acts like Lacuna Coil that I thought was really good. And then you've got like Hailstorm, which is their own thing. I mean that's a rock band for all intents and purposes. And I think, but then there are some other female-fronted bands. It's just like I don't know, man. It's just like the voice. It's just like guys too, though. I mean, there's certain voices to me that are really good and ear candy, and that goes both ways. But there's some female-fronted bands that. I'm just listening. If I close my eyes and I'm just listening and I'm not watching, it's like, man, I just don't hear that voice there. You know what I mean? It's like that's still the component, just like good songs. It's like you've got to have that voice, and that's the X factor.
Yeah.
How do you explain that? You can't break it down mathematically. What is it about that voice? It's so special. But I think that's for me where it's like it still boils down to that.
Absolutely. Hey, we're talking with Will Hunt for the band White Noise Al. I know you got to get going here shortly, but I know you've been in Minnesota a few times. You got any good Minnesota stories at all that are airable?
Yeah, so the last time we were there, which was it was about a year ago, actually, and we were playing there, and we got into town, and it was nice, and the sun was out. And it's actually really warm, man, for you guys. I think at that time of year, it might be late October. And we walked around the corner, man, and I'm from Florida, dude.
Yeah.
It's like that is not my natural habitat at all. But when I walked outside and got off the bus that day, when we got there, I'm like, man, this is incredible. I think it was like 55 degrees. It's beautiful. And we walked around the corner to get something to eat and watch a football game. And I mean, dude, while we were in there, that weather turned so fast. And here I am in a pair of shorts and flip-flops, and it's a freaking blizzard going on out there, and I've got like a windbreaker. And we had like a half-mile walk back to the hotel, and
Wow.
the roads were shut down. And I mean, dude, I thought I was going to die. I really did.
Oh, man. And I'm sure you played at a lot of the great venues here in Minnesota, too. So that's a lot of fun, I bet you.
Oh, yeah, man. What's the old Prince venue?
First Avenue.
First Avenue. Played that place a bunch of times. Man.
Yeah, that is just a great place to watch a show, too. Hey,
It really is, man.
What about touring for you guys? Is it in the plans for 2019?
Well, I think that what we're doing is, we're working on, obviously something's out there and doing its thing. I think the idea is to get another tune out there at some point soon.
Okay.
And then start planning some type of, playing some like, as I like to call them, like fly dates, going into certain markets where, now that you do have all that data, you can kind of pigeonhole where you're doing well.
Right.
And going and hitting some of those places and playing some of those radio festivals where we're being played. And
Yep.
I think the thing is, and again, this is a new band 101, but, touring is expensive now, man. It's not cheap. And unless you're doing really well, and you can fill a Tuesday night and Wednesday night, and you can make money on that, you're losing money being out there. And without the big machine behind you, it makes it kind of difficult to tour. So for us, I think that what we've got to do is we've got to be really smart about where we go and how we do it, because obviously we don't have a ton of money. We're kind of DIY at this point. And, but we got to get out there. We want to get in front of people, and we want to play for everybody and kind of thank people that have been playing us and supporting us. And so, yeah, it's in the plans.
How about some of your other projects? You mentioned Rival City Heights and even Evanescence and that. Any plans on touring in 19?
Evanescence, we just finished, and as far as I know, next year is off, but I don't know, it's not up to me.
Right.
I follow in that one. Whenever she says let's do something, it's like, all right, cool, let's rock.
Gotcha.
But and then with Rival City, it was Rival City Heights. We got rid of the Heights. It's just Rival City now.
Okay.
We've got stuff coming out, and we're definitely going to be doing some shows in between, Jeff's STP schedule when it allows. I forgot to mention, too, man, also in that band is Gino Leonardo, and Gino is the original guitar player and Filter.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and that band sounds kind of like the sum of its parts. I will say that. You would say what you think of that band, what it would sound like. That band sounds like that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Kind of a cool thing. But I'm going to get out there with that, and yeah, man, we just got a few things going on.
And you're loving life in your 40s, right?
Yeah. No, man, my 30s, dude.
Come on, you're around my age. I know that, so it's all good. It's all good,
Yeah, no, I'm a very young 40-something guy. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh man, hey, a lot of fun talking with you, Will, and I wish you the best of luck with the project White Noise Owl, and maybe we'll get a chance to see you maybe next summer at a festival or something.
That'd be great, man. I plan on it. Let's do that.
Hey, if anybody wants more information, I know what you're going to tell me. It's all on the social media, but how can they find out information about White Noise Owl?
Hit it up on Instagram. We're really active on there, active on Facebook and Twitter. We do have a whitenoiseowl.com. But to be honest, man, we're way more active on the social media sites because it's kind of more of a direct artery into the people that want to know about it. So we're pretty active on those.
Who would have thought 25 years ago we'd be doing that stuff, huh?
Dude, it just blows my mind. It's like my father is a psychiatrist, and he said something to me that was profound. And we were talking just about texting, about that. And he's like, texting is such a weird phenomena because, when you text somebody something, think about how many times somebody texts you something, you're like, wait a second, what did you mean by that? Because you don't hear the inflections of the voice, and it's this whole other thing that we're dealing with now with social media and that. It's crazy. I mean, it's cool to see. It's a little scary, a little beautiful, a little scary. I mean, But it's a part of life, man. So you just got to get on that wave and ride it.
Absolutely. Will, thanks so much for joining me. We're going to play your latest song, Something. You okay with that?
Awesome. Thank you.
Once again, that is Will Hunt with the band White Noise Owl. Their latest song is Something. You're hearing it right now. It's on The Dark. It's on FM94.